of time, it's true. When people said wireless, they actually would have said the wireless, despite the fact that wireless is an adjective, right? But when it first started going into popular language, it was a noun, okay? Because what it was referring to was this. We'll get out of the way. This was the wireless. People would say, turn the wireless on. Or did you hear it on the wireless? Or the reports on the wireless are, saying this, that, the other, right? Particularly around the First World War, radio technology was just starting off. And this is the first way that you could transmit a signal wirelessly, right? Apart from, say Morse code and just like lights and that kind of thing. So this was the wireless, okay? But now, things have changed. There's so many different kinds of technology that can link things without wires. So that's what we're going to go through today, the different kinds. Now, as I go through them, the order that I'm going to take them in is generally order of distance. So I'm going to go from small distances very nearby, and I'm going to expand out from there. Okay? So, the very first one. I admit it's not very common these days. A small number of mobile phones have them, but we actually mentioned this yesterday. The first kind of wireless technology is infrared. Okay? Now, we don't tend to associate this with our communication systems. Like I said, they're not that common in mobile phones or computers, that kind of thing. A laptop I bought many, many years ago had an infrared port on the side. It's kind of not very common because, well, if you're going to send, it's sort of like sending light signals, but they're infrared, so we can't see them, right? But as a result, because it's basically a kind of light, it requires line of sight. Okay, line of sight, and because it's light, and it's also very low energy light, it's infrared. If you didn't know, let's actually look it up. When you think about the different kinds of light, sorry, here we go. What's a good one? Yeah, this one will do. This is the this is the not clicking thing again. Let's try it again. Excuse me. So here you've got the spectrum of visible light, right? And red is over one end and violet's over the other. As you go from, at least on this one, as you go from right to left, you're going from lower energy to higher energy. Okay? You're also going to, I think you're going to smaller wavelength? Yeah, smaller and smaller wavelengths. Which is why early CD players, right, they use sort of red lights. But as we move forward, do you know why Blu-ray is called Blu-ray? It's because the laser is blue. It's more higher energy. It's a smaller wavelength, and so it can read smaller pits and lands on DVD, not DVDs, on Blu-rays. Anyway, that was a side note. So my point was, infrared is like here, but below. So if it goes from low energy to high energy, this means it's quite low energy. So these signals, they don't last very long, right? So therefore, when you're thinking about infrared, the distance tends to be less than 10 meters. That's kind of the theoretical limit. In practical terms, it's usually even less than that. Okay? Now, infrared still gets used a fair bit. It's just in much lower technology kind of devices, like this, right? So most remote controls that you use, they have this little thing on the front, right? And it's line of sight. So if I cover it and I press the button, nothing's happening to the air conditioner right now. But if I'm not going to because it'd be a waste. But if I could point it and I was close enough, it would work, right? Because it's using infrared. TV remotes, DVD remotes, they're all the same, okay? Alright, so there's the first kind of wireless technology, infrared. Like I said, not that common. But